No L's, G's, B's, and T's, especially you T's. No, I tease. This is Openly Jake, and actually I don't tease. Last week I introduced you a very amazing troupe of trans teens. Try saying that 10 times fast. Troupe of trans teens. Troupe of trampolines. I tease. And you can see that video right here. But the response was so overwhelming that I want to share with you Jake's director's cut, the full version of the interview. And not to be confused with another show that aired on the exact same day as my last video, Bruce Jenner the Interview, which put this very private topic into a public forum. So I want to take you back to the Los Angeles LGBT Center in Hollywood to continue my conversation with these 6 amazing young people, 5 of whom started off as girls and 1 still yet to decide. So let's take a look.
I've had someone be like, you're too cute to be trans, which like, thank you, but
you and you just straight up said you should kill yourself.
You're gonna grow out of it.
People say things like, well, have you considered maybe it's the way you're raised? Wow, in my 17 years of life, I never considered that.
When we first met, I had no idea you were trans. Is that offensive?
no, not to me, not to me.
When people tell me you're gay or you don't seem gay, there's a part of me that's like, what a compliment. But then there's the real part of me, like the outside of myself, I think the really enlightened part that says, how dare you?
Yeah, there's that whole like, on one hand it's like, oh yes, I tricked everyone and I passed. And on the other hand, there's part of me being like, that's awful, they should not assume things about me.
Right.
Why would you assume anything about my identity?
Exactly. When did you find out you were trans?
For a long time, I was just I was in denial for like most of my life. I was just like, oh, I'm a tomboy. And one day I just like realized, oh shit, I'm trans.
Oh god, I was 20.
Oh,
I mean,
wow, really?
Yeah, I was cross-dressing by the time I could walk. There's a bunch of photos of me like in my dad's clothes doing everything my dad was doing.
I knew when I was 4. I followed the whole trans stereotype, I guess. Knowing when you're young, I did tell my sister, but then a lot of bad things came out of it, so I went back into the closet and didn't come out again until like I was 17.
What do you mean bad things?
Call me lesbian, lesbo dyke, you know, and making me wear heels and dressing up emo. I did not like that.
Definitely in middle school was when I was able to like kind of recognize that these feelings I was having were centered around gender.
Yeah.
And couldn't really put it into words, didn't have the vocabulary, because that vocabulary is not taught to anyone. Because the LGBT community is considered such a perverted community. Trans identity is so vast. There's so many different things that fall under that umbrella.
Your group.
Yeah, exactly. And so there are parts of people under that umbrella who think that trans only means one thing.
Gender neutral sort of appeals to my sense of spirituality.
Gender neutral meaning?
I do have conflicting emotions about what I identify as.
Did you come out before you came out as trans? Like,
I came out to my current boyfriend at the time by folding up a piece of notebook paper, throwing it at him, and then running across the school and hiding underneath a desk.
Did it say something on the paper?
It just said I'm transgender.
Oh, wow.
I've dealt with so many different kinds of people. I feel like I've developed a lot, so I handled like problems in a different way.
What advice would you give yourself when you were angry? What kind of guided you that way?
I think advice I would give myself in the past is like, you want to be transgender, you have to be aggressively transgender. Not mean, but if someone says she or her, your birth name, be like, you have to correct them. You can't be afraid to correct them.
Do you find that you've encountered a lot of transphobic attitudes? At school or from friends?
Yeah, my teacher has said I could relate as a goat, but that wouldn't make me a goat and shit like that.
Well, there's a lot of that coming up in the news of, have you heard about a lot of this stuff like
yeah.
Indiana and the pizza people who said that gay marriage is like marrying a tree? It's hilarious. I mean, we laugh about it, but that's horrible.
A police officer had come to my work and she was making rape jokes about trans people to me. And it's,
police officer.
You know, I've had to be brave my whole life. And when you're trans, you don't really have a choice.
Do you feel confused?
Yeah. But I'm okay with my confusion.
Do you feel like you're in a country? You can be like that for as long as you want or as long as you need, or you're in an environment that sort of fosters that?
I believe in my home. Yes. Close circle of friends. Yes. Larger circle of people I actually care for. Yes. Range of the state. We're one of the more accepting ones. California.
Well.
But, you know, No. Really, the bigger you get. No.
I always get like the question like, oh, are you a guy or girl or something if I tell someone my name's Maxwell, and I usually go with girl because I don't want to like start a problem.
Yeah. How does that make you feel?
It upsets me, but also I feel like it's the right thing to do because I don't know who those people are.
You would be surprised. I don't think people really realize how often the subjects of genitalia come up.
Really?
And just like all the time, people are just always talking about their genitalia. And it got to the point where I was feeling like, oh, I have to hide this part. I have to lie. I have to kind of bend the truth.
It didn't feel right. So
Yeah.
how did you fix that?
I joined Trans You Speak.
For the people that aren't out, I would say like fine. I don't know. The only thing I could say is like, get out of there.
I was like the first person to come out as trans, like ever on like school to my knowledge.
Are you proud of that?
I'm kind of proud because now they have gender neutral bathrooms.
Oh, wow.
And people get to play on the team that they identify with.
You just have to keep knowing that at some point in your life you will be safe. You're not going to be stuck in one place forever. There's always going to be some place you can go where you can live authentically, but sometimes in the meantime you have to live safely.
Oh, God. Am I right? And although these kids can probably speak for themselves, if you know anything about me, I gotta speak too. And that is to tell you, you gotta pay attention to these kids. They might seem out of place in the G's, L's, and B's world, but don't forget the T's because they're gonna be very transformative. No, because you know, transparency is the new frontier. Transparency. Nailed that one. Jake out with a capital T for you teens. Nailed it.